Hey guys. Now, I'm so glad that everyone is here. Welcome to Kids Club Online with Michaels. My name is Bernard Liad, and I am honored to be taking you through a project today. So today we're going to be making a Father's Day craft stick roll-up card. It's a fun little project to show your father how much you love him. So real quick, let me open it up for you so you guys could see what it looks like. So I'm opening up the ribbon now, and as you can see, it is, oh, perfect. As you can see, you could unravel to reveal the card. And then here's the tag and the ribbon there. All right, now as far as supplies goes, first you're gonna need some construction paper. You don't need that many, and you can choose whatever colors that you want. You're going to need jumbo craft sticks. You're going to need 8 of the jumbo sized ones. Frankly, you could use a little bit more, a little bit less. You could even use some different sizes. If you'd like to use like a slightly smaller size of craft stick, you could do that as well. Next, you're gonna need some washable markers. We have some great Creatology markers, but today I'm going to be using some Crayola washable markers for us. You'll also need a glue stick. I'm going to be using a craft bond stick, but any Elmer's glue stick will work. Frankly, any Elmer's glue will work for this project. You're also going to need some scissors. We have some great blunt tip scissors from Creatology that you could use. Next up, we're going to be using ribbon. I have the 5/8 of an inch ribbon. But again, you could use yarn, you could use a different width of a ribbon. I wouldn't go too thick. I would 5/8 of an inch would probably be the widest that I use as far as a ribbon gauge. Somebody asked if you could use small craft sticks, and you absolutely can. You'll probably just end up using more of it. So I use 8 of the jumbo ones here, so maybe maybe a dozen or more, and it really depends. All that means is that your card is going to be a little bit smaller than mine. You're going to need a hole punch. Now make sure that you're using this with your parent because that is something that you need them for. And lastly, you're going to need a ruler and a pencil. So here are the supplies. Again, throughout this DIY, I'll be giving you guys some alternative supplies that you guys can be using for your project. All right, so let me go ahead and empty this out, and then we'll get started. Father's Day is this weekend. I'm really curious to hear what you guys are going to be doing for Father's Day. I'm actually going to be going to my family always does brunches for any occasions because my mother's a nurse and she's always sleeping during the day. So like the morning is the only time that we could catch her. So we're going to be doing a Father's Day brunch this weekend.
I think brunch is the best meal of the day anyway.
Yeah, right. I agree. It's here. All right. So we're going to be doing this in 5 easy steps. I'm going to be leaving this here so you guys can see the finished product. All right. So for step 1, here's what you're going to need. You're going to need scissors. You're going to need a ruler, a pencil, and construction paper. Now, the construction paper I'm going to be using is yellow for this case, because as you can see here, we're going to be writing on it. And so choosing a lighter color would make it easier for what you write to show up. So if you use something like a dark brown or a dark red, that's fine, but it may be difficult for some of these markers to show up on that. All right, so for the first step, we're going to be cutting this piece of paper 5.5 inches by 8 inches. All right, so as you can see here, this part is what's 5.5 inches, and this part is what is 8 inches. All right, so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using the ruler, and I'm going to be marking out 5.5 inches on one side. Then from that mark, here, let me make it bigger. From that mark, I'm going to measure out 8 inches here. And then I'm going to be doing the same thing over here just to make sure that we are even. And so from here, I'm sure you guys have all done connect the dots. So I'm going to connect the dots on this side. And then I'm going to be connecting the dots on this side. All right. Somebody asked, how many inches was the top part? So this part is 8 inches. Hopefully you could see that there. Here, let me write it down with a marker. So this part is 8 inches and this part is 5.5 inches. Now, remember, depending on the size of craft sticks you use is going to change. So this measurement happens to be perfect for our jumbo craft sticks by Creatology. But if you go to a micro store, whether online or in store, you can see a bunch of different sizes. And so you're really just going to have to measure out what the right size is for the type of craft stick that you're using. All right, now that we have that, we could put away the pencil and the ruler. And with blunt tip scissors, preferably by Creatology, you're going to be cutting this out. So all you're going to do is follow the line. I'm going inside the line just a little bit so that I don't get any of the pencil marks in the actual paper. Yeah, and like I said before, I'm using yellow because it's just really easy for the markers to show up on here. If you don't have construction paper, that is completely fine. You could just use regular printer paper and it'll work just fine. Whether it's white or colored, it will work just the same as construction paper for this project. All right, now that's step one, easy, right? So we have put it on portrait, so which is vertical. Well, I'm going to be using the words horizontal and vertical a lot today. So we're cutting it out. It was horizontal like that, which means it's laying flat side to side. And we want it vertical so that it looks kind of like a skyscraper. All right. So that's step one. Step two is the best part. You're going to be needing markers for this one. So here are my markers. Now is the part where you're going to be writing 5 things that you love about your dad. Now, that's not the only thing that you could do. You could do anything really on this piece of paper. You could write a small note and maybe a fun drawing for your dad. Or you could just write a nice long letter or a poem or a song, whatever you creatively want to do, you absolutely can do that to show your father that you love him. For me, I have 5 things prepared to write 5 reasons why I love my dad, because growing up, he has always been a big part of my life and a big part of who I am today. So I really want to show him that and to show that, he is really special. So I'm going to start off with a darker color. So I'm going to start off with a brown. You're going to see me looking at the actual names a lot because I'm colorblind. And so I'm always changing. I'm always using the wrong colors if I don't look. So I'm going to start off with a brown. Fun fact, brown is actually my favorite color. So let me know what y'all's favorite color is. I would love to know. All right, so I'm going to start off by writing a title, 5 things I love about you. Since this is going to my dad, I went ahead and said you instead of dad, just to show you guys something a little bit different from what I did over here. All right. Now from there, I'm going to pick up a violet, a purple. I'm going to write a little squiggly line right here. And I'll be making some starbursts over here to zhuzh it up a little bit. There you go. So for my dad's favorite color is actually red. So I'm going to be writing the 5 things in red. All right, so first things first, I'm going to write, you cheered me on at my track meets. Now, I ran track in high school and college, and he always motivated me to do well and try harder, especially when I wanted to quit because it was just so hard, especially practicing in the heat all the time. So that was definitely very special to me. So I'm writing that down as my first reason. Track and the estimated, yes. Now I'd love to know what you guys are writing about your father as to why you love him, or if you're not writing 5 reasons why you love your father, please let me know what you plan on doing. If you're writing a note, a song, or a drawing, all those things sound great.
We've got
Now,
some favorite colors. You want to hear them?
yeah, definitely.
We've got green, blue, pink,
Nice.
yellow, lime green. So
I love
we've
that.
got a couple more pinks.
Green is actually my second favorite color, and growing up it was blue. So as you could see, your favorite color will change as you age. Now, my second reason is you cook amazing food. So I am Filipino. So I was actually born in the Philippines, and it's actually pretty normal for the father figure to be the one that's cooking food. And my mom actually worked really hard doing 2 nursing jobs while we were growing up. So it was always my dad that was cooking us our meals. And let me tell you, he can cook. Now, let me know if you guys have dads that like to cook too, whether it's grilling or in the kitchen. I would love to hear your favorite dish from your dad. Mine is chicken adobo, which is a staple in Filipino cuisine. All right, now.
Can he come teach my dad how to cook?
Right? Well, first I need him to teach me how to cook.
Oh.
I'm not the best of cooks. I've asked for some recipes, but I definitely need a few more lessons. Especially Kyra says that her dad cooks really good eggs. Yeah, I cannot cook eggs at all, and that's like step 1.
You can't cook pancakes. So.
Oh, pot roast. That sounds really good too, Lisa. All right, so number 3, we play ping pong. So one of the, in the Philippines, everybody plays ping pong and pool. And so it was funny, I went to college, and in the dorm room, there was a ping pong table on, we play ping pong in the lobby. So I played all the time. I got really good. I had no idea my dad played. So I went home and I was like, Dad, I started playing ping pong. And then he says, let's go to the rec center and play. And I'm like, okay, let's spend some time together. I didn't know you even knew how to play. And so we show up at the rec center. He has so if you hold the ping pong like this, there's like this special pencil grip that we call like only experts use. And that's how he held the ping pong paddle. And I was like, wait a minute, is my dad good? We started playing, he killed me.
You knew you were in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. So I learned real quick that my dad was good at ping pong from growing up. Oh, baked ziti. That sounds really good. All right. So number 4, I'm putting, you give great hugs. So my dad just has a personality to that where he just has the biggest smile and he lights up the room, and he really, makes the mood nice. Nice and fun and airy. And so that's something that I really do appreciate about him. For my last one, piggybacking off of that, you taught me how to be kind.
Isabella says her dad cooks almost as good as her grandma. Almost.
Ah, those are big shoes to fill. To be kind. All right, I'm gonna put another little heart over here. All right, so there are my 5 reasons. Again, if you're following along and you have reasons that you'd love to share about your father, I'd love to hear about them. Next, I'm gonna be taking the blue, and I'm gonna be drawing a dash line And what I'm going to do, so before I wrote Happy Father's Day. This time I'm going to say love Bernard. I'm going to attempt to sign this. There you go. So he knows that it's from his favorite son. All right. So that is step 2. If you are following along, congratulations. If you plan on doing this later, congratulations anyways. Thank you for joining us. All right, so step 3, you're going to need a glue stick. You're going to need all the craft sticks as well. So let me move this a little bit, get this out of the way. So step 3, we're going to be gluing your note to the craft sticks. So first, you're going to lay out all the craft sticks side to side. And you're going to want it to be as straight as possible. But if it's not super straight, that is completely fine. All right. Perfect. So I'm kind of using the edge of the table to make sure that it's as straight as possible. But you could use like a ruler or just any straight edge to help you out with that as well. So like, for instance, I could grab this ruler and just kind of use it to straighten up the sticks like so. Awesome. All right, next, actually, let me move it up a little bit so that all the sticks are in your view. Let me straighten it out with a ruler, just like so. Okay, next, you're going to be turning over your note. And here, let me move this out of the way real quick. And you're going to be taking this craft stick or glue stick from Elmer's or Creatology, or just even honestly, a bottle of glue will work just fine also. And you're going to be lathering this thing with so much glue, it's not even funny. Because your goal is to make this stick to all those crafts. This is going to stick to these craft sticks, and you do not want it. You don't want the adhesive to not stick all the way and have the paper fall off. So please apply a generous amount. This is the one time where you can't have too much glue. I'm literally going to try to cover every inch of this piece of paper with glue. Oh, so much so that that kind of fell out a little bit. There you go. And also make sure to get like all the edges so that the paper fully sticks. Yeah. And the reason why you're wanting full coverage on this is because each of this, you're wanting to attach to each one of these sticks individually. And so like, if you don't have enough glue, like in one section, one stick may fall off. So you're gonna want to put glue everywhere. All right. Okay, so I think I got enough. So what you're gonna want to do is carefully, you're going to lay it over right in the center of all the craft sticks. Like so. Okay, and then you're gonna press. All right, now since these are washable markers, you're going to want to, what I would do is I would grab another piece of construction paper, put it on top of it, and then just kind of smother it as much as you can so that you can make the glue adhesive stick. Now, the reason why I put another piece of paper is because if I did this, here is, let's say, let me write Dad. If I did this to this, see how it's gonna smother like that? You don't want that to happen. So that's why I'm grabbing another piece and I'm using that to make the note stick to the glue sticks. All right. Now, if you don't have washable markers, you could totally write the note with like colored pencils or colored pens or just non-colored pens. Anything will work. So as you can see, mine is not completely perfect. It's a little bit to the left here, but you know what? Just act like you did that on purpose. You know, your dad's not going to know. So So next is actually my second favorite part. Let me bring this back to view so you can see that as an example. It is time to decorate. So for step 4, we're going to need our markers once again, and we're going to be decorating the sides of the sticks here. Now, if you want to get super creative, you don't have to just use markers. You could glue on some beads, you could glue on some googly eyes, you could even use paint to decorate these craft sticks. But for today, we're just going to be using washable markers. So let's start with some stripes, all right? Now remember when I was saying horizontal and vertical, we're going to be adding a third word, and that is diagonal. And so if this is horizontal and this is vertical, diagonal looks like this. Oh wait, looks like so. So if you imagine a square, it goes from one corner to another. So let's make some diagonal stripes. I'm going to start with a purple. And I'm going to be decorating like each one of the sticks individually. But if you want to, like for instance, if you want to treat like 2 sticks as one and decorate them like that, or you could even imagine this, you could even continue this all the way down if you wanted that effect. But what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be decorating each stick individually, just so you could have a nice varied effect. So what I'm going to do for each effect, I'm going to do it on the left side, and I'm going to do it on the right side also. So I'm also going to be doing a diagonal line here. So to make diagonal stripes, all you have to do is make 2 diagonal lines and then fill it in with that color. And I'm going to be doing the same over here, because in the space that has no color, we're going to be putting a different color on there. Awesome. So that's purple. Next, we're going to be using yellow. So if you're a fan of LSU, I believe those are their colors, purple and yellow. So all I'm going to be doing is filling it in like so. Now, if you guys have any other ideas as far as how to decorate this, please just let me know in the chat. Somebody asked if these are Crayola markers. Yes, they are, but you are welcome to use Creatology markers from Michaels as well. All right, so we have our diagonal stripes. Okay, so we did diagonal. Next up, let's do horizontal. So horizontal, again, is laying flat side to side. So I have this green, so I'm gonna make some green horizontal stripes here. And again, I'm gonna be doing it on the other side here as well. Now, what should we pair the green with? Let's pair the green with an orange. There you go. And again, I'm going to be doing the same thing on the other side. Now, don't stress out too much about being perfect. This is for your dad, and you know, your dad loves you as you are, with all the imperfections and all the good and the bad. And so that's kind of what we're going to be showing here. We're going to be showing all the different parts of you that your dad loves, and vice versa, all the parts that you love about your dad as well. All right, so next I'm going to be taking my dad's favorite, see, this is not red, I thought it was. I'm going to be taking my dad's favorite color, which is red, and I'm going to be making some vertical stripes. So we've done diagonal, we've done horizontal. So what's next? It is vertical. We're going to be doing some vertical stripes next. So let's see, for this one, I'm going to draw a nice big stripe since this is my dad's favorite color. And I'm going to be doing it on the other side as well. And I don't really, my strategy for where I do it is random, because I feel like it looks more organic that way. You know, that's kind of my personality. And so I'm sure a lot of people are a lot more ordered and will have like a different strategy for how they decorate each one of these. Let's see, and I'm going to, actually, we already used yellow, so let's use gray for this. It's not popping out. Okay, so somebody said they're using smaller sticks and it's not popping out from the sides of the paper. So if that happens, cut your paper smaller so that it is. So if you're using smaller sticks, that just means that the size of your paper needs to get smaller. So here's the size of the paper that we're using today. Let's pretend our sticks are this big, right? So we're gonna want the paper to, the width of the paper to be less than that. So I would probably choose maybe like this size of paper. And you just would have to test what works. So for instance, if you had a smaller stick like this and you did that, then the sides will still pop up and you could decorate them. So yeah, so 5.5 inches by 8 inches is specifically for these big jumbo sticks, and you're welcome to cut out smaller as you need to. All right, let me finish out these horizontal stripes, sorry, vertical stripes. All right, if you're following along, you're doing great. We're definitely on the tail end of this DIY. All right, so we've done the 3 different types of stripes. I'm gonna repeat it one more time. We did horizontal, side to side, laying flat. We did vertical, laying tall, and then we did diagonal, which is from one corner of a box to another. All right, so now let's have a little fun with it. Let's have some orange polka dots. Draw some dots here. Get creative, and then I'll do it on the other side. And then to surround that, let's use blue. So I'm going to be using the blue. And an easy way to do that is to kind of surround each dot with your blue marker like that. And then you could color it in so that you don't have to worry about getting into the dots whenever you are filling it in with the blue. All right, I'm gonna be doing the same thing on the other side. This is starting to look like a die, which I don't mind because I love Yahtzee. Now, I would love to know what are things that you like to do with your dad? One of the big things with me and my dad and my family in general is karaoke. Again, it's a Filipino cultural staple. It's always a lot of fun. I'm really bad at singing, unfortunately, but I enjoy it. It's a really great way to bond with your family. So next, I'm going to teach you guys a crosshatch. So a crosshatch is just, we learned the word, actually, let me use red because red is my dad's favorite color. So we learned diagonal, right? So a crosshatch is just a bunch of diagonal lines like so in opposite directions. So if I did it the opposite way, you can see that the lines are crossing, and that's why it's called the crosshatch. That's something that you learn in art class growing up. It's a technique to, if you use it with like a pencil or a pen, you can use it to shade your drawings depending on how dense or how compact you make your crosses. All right. So next up, I'm gonna be using purple once again. My dad is a star, so I'm going to be making a star to represent my dad. I'm gonna be filling it in. And I'm gonna be doing it on the other side here. Let me do it slowly so you guys can follow along. So if you're trying to make a star, you make a diagonal line like that. Then you make another one. You're almost at a triangle, but you're not going to connect them, all right? You're gonna be drawing another line here, drawing another line here, and then you're gonna be drawing a horizontal line like that. So there's your star. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna fill it in with the color like so. Awesome. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the orange and I'm gonna draw just little lines to represent, how stars twinkle and shine bright like you guys do. We're getting there, guys. All right, now I don't know about you, but I love my dad. So I'm gonna be taking his favorite color once again, which is red. And I'm gonna be drawing nice heart over here. To draw a heart, you just start with a curve, like a half circle, and then a diagonal line going in here. And then you do the same thing on the other side. I'm gonna fill that in like so. Perfect. And just some fun lines here. All right, and the last, but obviously not least, or one of the last, is I'm gonna be taking a blue, and my dad makes me smile, and he has a great smile as well. So I'm gonna be drawing a happy face that represents my dad. There you go. And then I'll draw one on this side. This one I'll draw with a nose. I'll pretend it's me. Awesome. And then, we have one more square. What should we do with it? Here, let's draw some squiggly lines with green. And so I'm going to be using a lot of diagonal lines there. And I'm going to be doing it again, like so. And I'm going to fill it in, just to change it up a little bit. Perfect. And let's see, what color what will complement green? I think blue complements green pretty well. So we're going to use blue. Once again, we're going to outline it. And then we're going to fill it in. Awesome. Now, if you're following along and you've gone to this step, give yourself a round of applause. Here, I will give you one because you're basically done with your card. All right, we only have one more step left, and so we're finishing it up. Okay, so if somebody asks about using liquid glue, I don't have any liquid glue here with me, but you could absolutely use liquid glue. What I would do though is whenever you put the liquid glue on to your paper, use your finger to smear it because you're having that issue about it going through the sticks. So use that glue to smear it to almost mimic what a glue stick will do. And then from there, so that it's no longer, get it to a point where it's no longer like dripping. From there, you could go ahead and place it on your craft sticks without a lot of drippage going on. All right, so we are in our last and final step. Who's excited? Because I am. We're going to need ribbon. We're going to need scissors. You're going to need your markers. Once again, you're going to be needing construction paper. And you're going to be needing your hole punch along with help from your parent. All right, so what we're going to do next is we're going to be creating the tag. Let's see if I can find. We're going to be creating this in the last and final step. All right, so let me get this out of the way first. All right, first things first, you're going to be using your scissors and your construction paper, and you're going to cut a small square, like so. It doesn't have to be any particular size, but if you do want sizing help, this one is 2 inches by 3 inches. So this one, I'm just going to eye it. Let me straighten this side a little bit. Perfect. And all you're going to be writing on this card is to dad. To dad. Or, you know, whatever term of endearment that you usually use for your dad. There you go. And then from here, this is when you're going to call your parent, Mom, can I get your help over here real quick? And she is going to hole punch the corner of this. Now, since, as you can see, this is pretty thick ribbon, right? So just to cheat a little bit, I'm going to do a second hole punch right next to it so that the hole is a little bit bigger, and it'll make this a lot easier. Okay, next you're going to get a ribbon and you're going to be cutting it. Again, we're going to be cutting the excess, and so it's better to go a little bit longer than too short. So go ahead and cut a piece of ribbon. And what you're going to do is you're going to fold this ribbon in half like so that you could get it in here. You know what? Actually, I went ahead of myself. Let's do this after we roll up our card. So here's the card. Moment of truth. you need to roll it up like so. And that's what makes the card a roll-up card. That's pretty cool, huh? So that whenever your dad opens it, ta-da, it just opens like that. All right, so I'm gonna be rolling up the card once again. And I'm gonna be using the ribbon to tie the card. So you're gonna start with just one simple knot, just like you were tying your shoes. And there you go. Perfect. So now that you have one knot, this is when you're gonna attach the card. So just like I said before, go ahead and kind of fold the ribbon in half just a little bit, and then just run it right through. Now you could use a thinner ribbon, you could use yarn, anything like that will work. So I'm just gonna thread it right through. Now that it's there, I'm just gonna tie one more knot. So you did one knot, and I am going to be tying a second. Just like that. Perfect. Now you see that there's a lot of excess. For instance, this one is really long while this one's pretty short. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be cutting one end here like that. So if you cut it at a diagonal line, it has this cool effect of having a tip. And I'll do the same thing on the other side. Now, Nirmala asked if you could put stickers on your card. You absolutely can. You could put stickers here to decorate. You could even put it on your note to your dad. Also, another note, notice how the back of the jumbo craft sticks are undecorated. You could even decorate the back of your card as well. So there's a lot of creativity to be shown on this card that I didn't show you guys, but yeah, let your imagination run wild, and yeah, do as you please. I think anything that you create from your heart, your dad's going to love. All right, so there's the last and final step. So here's the project rolled up. And here it is. Here, let me do the ta-da again, because that's pretty cool. So imagine giving this to your dad, him not knowing what it is. What could this be? You know, and he lays it on the table and just goes out like that. And I'm sure that he would love it. All right, that is it for today's DIY. Again, thank you guys for coming and following along, whether you followed along and crafted with me, or you watched so that you could do this later. I really appreciate you guys' time, and I really do hope that you guys have the best Father's Day this weekend. We have a ton more kids classes online at micros.com/classes. And I really hope to see you at Camp Creatology starting on July 12th. You could find out more information on that at micros.com/Camp Creatology. All right, thank you guys. Have a great day.